Hello and welcome to Auto Shenanigans. How the devil are you? Have you had a good week? My name is John and thank you very much for joining me for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway.
What number are we thinking of? 69, dudes!
If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and help us get to that magical 100,000 subscriber mark. Today, I think it's going to be quite a short episode. We've come to look at the M69. 69. Grow up. The M69 runs for just under 16 miles between Coventry and Leicester and provides a very handy link between the M6 and M1 motorways. It was completed in 1977 and there are two junctions. Just two. The start of the M69 is at the Ansty Interchange, where in 2009 a new road was built connecting the motorway junction to the newly created Ansty Commercial Park. The commercial park was built on what remains of RAF Ansty, an airfield that was built in 1936. The airfield closed in 1953, however, aviation work of some description still happens on the site to this very day. Following the merger of Rolls-Royce and Bristol Siddeley, Rolls-Royce inherited the site in 1966 and used it as one of their main engine manufacturing plants. There's been quite a few structural changes at Rolls-Royce here at Ansty over the years, or to put it another way, we fired a whole load of low-level employees to please our shareholders. Today, Rolls-Royce have a workforce of around 600 people on site, and they work on fan cases and turbine blades for the Trent series of engines. That's quite a considerable drop from the 2,400 workers that they used to have here in 2001. Anyway, most of the airfield site has now been built on, but I believe one of the Rolls-Royce buildings is still original from back in the day. And if you look on Google Maps, you'll notice a short stub of runway and section of perimeter roads. These have somehow managed to survive redevelopment. Just to the south of the site is a rather awesome looking gas turbine and engine testing facility. I think this was built in the 60s, I'm not 100% sure. At one point, rocket engines or rocket motors and such like were also tested on the site, but I think testing of that nature ended in the 1970s. Back to the M69. And we've not even started yet, and already there's an oddity to be found right by the Ansty Interchange. On the southbound carriageway, there's a small singular ghost slip road to be found. But why is it here? It's not the result of a service station that was planned yet never built, as we've seen before, and it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense considering it's for joining traffic only. The answer took me bloody ages to find, but it turns out the original plans and ideas for the Ansty Interchange were quite different from what we've got today. If you have a look at this map, you'll see that the intention was to extend the A46, which had they done so would have followed the route to today's B065. Just before Shilton Village is where we find the answer to our question. A loop was supposed to have been constructed, allowing traffic to join the M69 southbound. The slip road was constructed in preparation for this loop. However, as road planners like to do, they changed their mind, and instead we got what we've got today, which is shitter. Moving away from the Ansty Interchange now, and as the M69 heads up towards Junction 1, it cuts through the site of an old airfield. On your left, you might spot the Gamecock Barracks, which is in the village of Bramcote. Now, I mentioned an old airfield, and indeed, the site used to be known as RAF Bramcote. Thanks very much to Ian on Twitter for this map. If you want to get in on the Twitter action, at John Shenanigans, it's all right. But yes, the airfield was constructed in 1940, but in 1959, following a transfer of ownership of the airfield over to the British Army, the name was changed to Gamecock Barracks. In 1993, the 30th Signal Regiment moved into the barracks and they remain on site to this day. I'm up at junction number 2 of 2 now. I'm up at junction 2 of 2 of the M69 now, and it appears we're missing a set of slip roads. And indeed, the junction only allows you to join the M69 when heading north or to exit the motorway when going south. But what could possibly be the reason behind this? Laziness, that's what. Well, maybe. I shall explain. The M69, like most motorways, was built in sections, and the first section that was built ran from Leicester down to here at Junction 2. So for a short while, the M69 sort of ended here, and there wasn't really a need to install any additional slip roads. Except there was. The Junction 2 to Coventry extension was completed 7 months later, and somebody just didn't bother to install the slip roads here, or perhaps more likely, they didn't want to pay for the installation of any additional slip roads. In 2015, Labour MP Chris Keeley set up a petition to get the slip roads built and opened, stating that congestion in the area had become unbearable. According to Mr. Keeley, Thousands of motorists and commuters in the east of Hinckley, Earl Shilton, Barwell and Burbage will benefit. Of course, if you were an MP living in, say, Burbage, near Junction 2 of the M69, you might want some slip roads adding for your own convenience. But of course, as we know, MPs only act in the interest of others, so it can't be that. That said, Mr Keeley might get his wish after all, because a company called Tritax Symmetry for some years now have been looking to open a 450-acre rail freight terminal right next to Junction 2. As part of this mammoth construction project, they'll also install and build the slip roads that are missing, a small price to pay for the convenience, I'm sure, Mr Keeley. Leaving Junction 2 behind, and a short while after, we cross over the Nuneaton to Leicester branch line. If we follow this railway along for a short while, we'll soon come across the Stony Stanton gas distribution centre. You might also spot the radio transmitter tower from the motorway, which marks the distribution centre's location. The site is operated by Cala Gas, a company that started in 1935 after Richie Gill from Cornwall returned to the UK after a trip to the United States. Whilst on his trip to the States, he noticed the popularity of liquefied petroleum gas, an idea that he wanted to bring over to the UK. It's fair to say that he succeeded, and the first gas filling station opened in 1947 near Bury St Edmunds in Suffolk. It wasn't until the early 2000s that the site here at Stony Stanton opened, along with 11 similar sites across the UK, or as Cala Gas like to call them, customer operations centres. The Cala site at Stony Stanton was actually built on an old quarry works. I can never say this. The Cala site at Stony Stanton was actually built on an old quarry which dates back to the early 1900s. Barrow Hill Quarry, as it was called back then, used to transport its materials via a tramway down to the main railway line, which was the previously mentioned Nuneaton to Leicester branch, and then the goods were transported somewhere else. I don't know. Today, half of the quarry sits abandoned and the other half is used as a fishing lake. Somebody did put forward the idea of building several holiday-let cabins on the site. However, the local council rejected this on the grounds of the environmental impact that it would have. From one quarry to another, although this one is slightly more impressive. Once you've driven past the Cala Gas site, you might spot this small hill poking out of the horizon. Croft Hill is not massive at only 128 metres high, and indeed is a fairly short walk to get to the top. It certainly does make for a lovely view, and over there you can spot the M69 making its way towards Leicester. The hill is great and all, but I did mention a rather impressive quarry, and if you look to the other side of the hill, you can't miss the massive Croft Quarry. Quarrying has been going on here since the early 1900s. In 1995, permission was granted here to excavate up to 45 million tonnes of materials, and at a rate of 2 million tonnes a year, which is what the quarry is capable of, this was pretty much done and dusted by 2018. So quarrying would have been over in 2018, but owners Aggregate Industries have applied to extend the quarry and excavate a further 6 million tonnes of material. A process that would take 20 years or so. And at the same time, the quarry owners have asked themselves the question, well, what are we going to do with this massive hole in the ground that we don't need anymore? Well, it turns out that the idea is to take all of the waste spoil and rubbish left over from the HS2 project and jam it all in here and fill up this massive crater. In any case, it looks like the quarry is going to be extended, so Aggregate Industries expect to be on site until at least 2052. And final fun fact, according to the internet, the quarrying has exposed 452 million-year-old igneous tonalite rocks. I don't know what those are. And perhaps as a result of this, the quarry and surrounding area has been designated as a site of scientific special interest. Did I get that first time? Site of special, did I say that? Yes! Okay, that's enough sightseeing, let's get back to the motorway. Although there's not a lot of it left really, and as you approach Leicester, the M1 and the end of the M69 at the Whetstone Interchange, you might notice that the carriageway sort of wants to keep going straight, yet you're forced to the left. And a little bit further along on the southbound carriageway, there's a bit more tarmac that looks like a road. What's going on? The answer is similar to the slip road we saw earlier at the Ansty Interchange, where they installed extra bits of road in preparation for things that were to come later. Once upon a time, there were plans to have a completely different interchange design here. In fact, there's been quite a few ideas as to how the interchange should be laid out. Here's one, and it shows where the M69 would have carried on along our mysterious bits of tarmac. Here's another, where the M69 goes over the M1 on a flyover and links up with the A563, again utilising these leftover bits of tarmac. The large mound that we see between the two present-day carriageways was put in place to allow for the main carriageway to go up and over the slip roads. In the early days of the Whetstone Interchange, it was a far simpler layout, and you'll notice that this map shows the A46M. Indeed, there used to be a short motorway spur that would take you off the M69 and into Leicester. Today, it's been renumbered as the A5460, and the entire area has evolved over the years into a right mess. It seems that the road planners just bolted things on without any thought or care as to the impact that it might have. Some of those crazy intersection ideas we looked at earlier are all of a sudden looking perhaps a little more sensible. And that's it really as far as the M69 is concerned. I've come to the Whetstone Viaduct a few minutes from the motorway's end because it's the nearest thing that doesn't look like Leicester and is perfect for a video outro. How does it go? There we go. Same as every week. That's all for this week then, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this film, then there is of course a button specifically for that. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and absolutely enjoy the rest of your week, whatever it is you guys get up to. My name is John, you've been watching Auto Shenanigans, and I'll see you guys next time for another exciting episode of Secrets of the Motorway. Till then, take care, bye bye.